Ren and Liam, strangers thrown together by chance and bound by a shared mission, hurried down the eerie, abandoned streets of Los Angeles. In the distance, the Griffith Observatory perched atop Mount Hollywood, its usually vibrant dome now ominous and foreboding against the backdrop of the impending invasion. They had one destination, one hope: to communicate Liam's discovery to the Orbital Command Center and potentially turn the tide of this otherworldly assault. As they navigated the city's twisted alleys, avoiding hotspots of frantic rioting and chaos, the two men traded stories in between panting breaths, learning more about each other and the divergent paths that had led them to this moment. Liam, normally shy and socially awkward, shared about his life in the shadows of his brilliant scientist father. As a child, he had always been fascinated by his father's research and eventually followed in his footsteps, becoming a prodigy in his own right. When the global crisis erupted, his father entrusted him with the enigmatic artifact, knowing that if anyone could decipher its secrets, it would be Liam. His father had then disappeared, heading to a secret outpost with a team of other scientists to develop a plan of attack against the alien armada. Ren listened intently, his eyes never straying from their surroundings, his hand resting instinctively on the pistol strapped to his side. When it was his turn to share, he began with a heavy sigh, a world of regret captured in that single exhale. "I was Special Forces once, Captain Renard Ren Morrison," he began, his voice barely more than a whisper. "I had a team, good men and women, all ready to lay their lives on the line for each other." A painful memory flickered across his face, the shadows seeming to deepen in his eyes. "Until a training exercise went wrong. Friendly fire, they called it." He paused, swallowing hard, his gaze on the deserted road ahead. "I should have checked. I should have known better. But I didn't. And because of that, one of my team, a good man, was killed. I took the fall, went to prison. When the riots broke out, they let some of us go. Figured we had better chances out here than locked up." Silence fell between them, filled only by their heavy breaths and the distant echoes of the chaotic city. Liam felt a pang of sympathy for the gruff soldier. "I'm sorry, Ren. That's a heavy burden to carry." Ren simply nodded, his gaze fixed ahead. His past was a scar, a constant reminder of a mistake that cost a life. But today, in the middle of an alien invasion, he saw a chance for redemption. Their confessions hung in the air as they continued their journey. An old, battered car sat abandoned on a side street, a potential ticket to their destination. "Come on," Ren gestured to the car, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "I know how to jumpstart this old model, a trick from my misspent youth." As Ren went to work on the car, Liam looked up at the ominous sky, praying they would reach the observatory in time. Their lives, their pasts, their regrets, they all led to this moment. The future of humanity hinged on their actions, and time was running out. The battle in orbit. Back in the Orbital Command Center, Commander Ortega watched the screens in a state of heightened alert, her palms sweaty despite the controlled climate of the command room. An armada of alien ships loomed on the edge of their defense perimeter. Earth's initial success against the 3 advanced ships had been exhilarating, but it had come at a cost. Damage reports flashed on the screens, a stark reminder of their frailty in this interstellar warfare. Suddenly, the silence of space was shattered as another wave of smaller alien ships emerged from the main armada, their movements swift and coordinated. They launched a surprise attack on the command center, their powerful weaponry ripping through the station's defenses. Ortega could feel the impact of each hit as it vibrated through the command center's hull. "Shields up! Redirect power to the damaged sectors!" she barked, her eyes fixed on the screens as she maneuvered the station to counter the sudden onslaught. Down on Earth, a volley of weapons arced down from the sky, their targets unseen until they collided with their destination. A collective gasp echoed across the command center as the city of New York was hit, skyscrapers crumbling as fire and smoke filled the sky. The city was plunged into chaos, with countless casualties and an untold amount of damage. As Ortega and her crew desperately fought to hold their position, an urgent communication from Earth broke through the chaos. President Amina's voice sounded tinny but resolute through the speakers. Commander Ortega, we have 10 repaired and operational 302 space fighters ready for launch. General Davidson is leading the operation. They will join you shortly. Ortega nodded, pressing a button to activate the reply channel. Acknowledged, Madam President. We could use the reinforcements. There was a pause. Then she added, Keep the faith, Madam President. We're not done yet. President Amina's voice hardened with determination. We're all with you, Ortega. Humanity will prevail. The line went dead, leaving Ortega to focus on the screens flashing with the trajectories of the new reinforcements. Their arrival was not a moment too soon. The command center was damaged, but not defeated. They had won this round, but at a great cost. As the last enemy ship was destroyed, a momentary calm settled over the command center. Ortega looked around at her crew, their faces grim but determined. They were the last line of defense, and they were ready to fight until the end. While Wren worked on the car, Liam's mind wandered back to the artifact and the knowledge it held. His father had always talked about its importance, but Liam hadn't truly understood until now. If his father was right, if he was right, this could change everything. As Wren finally managed to start the car, they both jumped inside. The journey to the observatory was fraught with danger. Roads were blocked, and people ran amok, forming barricades and protection groups in their neighborhoods. Wren maneuvered the old car with an expert hand, avoiding debris and people alike as they navigated the city streets. At one point, a group of rioters tried to stop them, their faces hidden behind makeshift masks. Wren accelerated, causing them to scatter and narrowly avoiding a collision. The city was falling apart at its seams, and all they could do was try to hold on and push forward. While Wren navigated the treacherous city streets, Liam found the time to delve deeper into the intricacies of his father's research and his own discovery. His eyes glowed with a mix of fear and excitement as he spoke, a stark contrast to the turmoil unfurling outside. My father was working on this artifact in secret for years, he began, his gaze fixed on the device nestled safely within his bag. He believed he knew it was more than just a relic. It was a beacon of potential. Liam carefully pulled out his laptop, the screen glowing eerily in the dim light of the car. On it was a series of complex diagrams and codes, a digital labyrinth only he could navigate. I've spent the past few weeks decoding its purpose, Liam continued, glancing at Wren. It's a communication and control device like nothing we've ever seen. His fingers danced across the keyboard, pulling up his meticulously crafted algorithm, an orchestra of numbers and symbols that held the key to their survival. I've managed to create an algorithm, he explained, his voice barely audible above the roar of the car's engine and the outside chaos. A sequence of commands, if you will. If we can connect it to a powerful enough transmitter, I believe we can communicate with the alien fleet, maybe even control their ships. Wren's grip on the steering wheel tightened as the weight of Liam's words sunk in. He stole a glance at the young scientist, his gaze filled with newfound respect. That's our ticket, then, he said, determination coloring his voice. We better make sure you and that algorithm get to the observatory for everyone's sake. Their journey through the city was a testament to human desperation and fear in the face of the unknown. But within the chaos, there were also glimpses of courage and resilience. People were standing together, helping each other, trying to make sense of the madness. It was a cruel reminder of what they were fighting for, what they stood to lose. As they drove on, they couldn't help but notice the eerie glow in the sky, a chilling harbinger of the alien armada's approach. It served as a constant reminder of the threat looming over them, propelling them onwards. The city that they knew was being torn apart, yet life was still clinging on. Through the pandemonium, they continued their journey, each driven by a determination to protect their home, their world. The road ahead was uncertain, but they knew they had to push forward for humanity's sake. In the cold, gray, early morning light, 10-302 space fighters rocketed into the sky from the Nevada launch site. The sleek, powerful jets streaked across the sky, leaving thin, wispy trails in their wake as they ascended towards the command station. Within the lead 302, General Davidson tightened his grip on the controls, his eyes flickering over the numerous displays and dials. The radio in his ear buzzed to life. Formation Alpha, prepare for orbital ascent. came the voice of Mission Control. With a steady hand and a determined heart, Davidson guided his 302 upward, his squadron falling into formation behind him. As they ascended, the Earth fell away beneath them, the blue and green expanse growing smaller with each passing moment. Looking out the side of the cockpit, Davidson's gaze fell upon the devastation wreaked upon New York. The fiery remnants of what was once a bustling city filled his view, the destruction stark against the otherwise serene landscape of the Earth. A tight knot formed in his stomach, his grip on the controls tightening. The sight only further fueled his resolve. He wouldn't let Earth suffer any more than it already had. They were outnumbered, outgunned, but he would be damned if they weren't outfought. "Commander Ortega," he spoke into the radio, his voice steady. "The 302s are airborne and en route. We'll be at your coordinates in 10. A small sigh echoed over the radio, a hint of relief in Ortega's voice as she responded. "Good to hear, General. We're going to need every fighter we can get." As they climbed higher, the atmosphere thinning and the stars growing brighter, Davidson couldn't help but wish for more firepower. If only they had 1,000 fighters, 100,000. But wishes didn't win wars. Courage did. Resolve did. And they had plenty of that. Minutes later, the squadron arrived at the Orbital Command Center. The massive station loomed ahead, an imposing structure against the inky void of space. Even from this distance, the damage from the earlier skirmish was evident. Scorch marks marring the station's surface, debris floating listlessly around it. "Welcome to the front line," Ortega's voice crackled over the radio as they approached the station. Her voice held an edge of steel, a clear indication of the battle that lay ahead. "Take up defensive positions. Our visitors won't be long now." As the radio fell silent, Davidson looked out into the vast emptiness of space. Somewhere out there, beyond the veil of darkness, the enemy was coming. Their numbers might be few, but their spirits were mighty. "Copy that, Commander," Davidson replied, guiding his 302 into position. As the rest of the squadron fell into formation around the station, a sense of grim determination settled over them. The alien armada was coming, and Earth was ready to greet them.